everyone, welcome back to my channel. Today we're going to be diving into the new products that were released from Tom Ford. They launched two new products in the shade and Illuminate. They launched a concealer, which I've been testing this for the last couple of days. I have so much to say about this, you guys. So much to say. And they also launched new blushes. So I picked up one shade. I kind of went back and forth on which combo I was going to pick, but I actually ended up picking this. This is in the shade Explicit Flush. This is 02. Lots to say about this new blush. These both retail for a whopping $90 each. So the concealer is $90 and the blush is $90. You just gotta kind of like absorb the price tag for these because it's a lot. It's like a mouthful. I was very curious about this concealer because I think it's a beautiful foundation, but I still do not believe it's worth $150. It's a very, very expensive foundation. Really like it. It's not like my all-time favorite foundation, I'm gonna be honest. I have a lot of other foundations that I reach for over this one, but I do really like the foundation. I was very curious about the concealer. There was a lot of things about it that, you know, it was very hydrating, it gave great coverage, and overall, I was just curious why the $90 price tag. So I went ahead and picked it up. The first shade I got was too dark, so I actually had to go to the Nordstroms and exchange. I actually ended up picking up the shade 4W1 Sand, and it's a little bit dark, but I don't mind it because I prefer my concealers to be a shade or two lighter than my foundation. So that shade actually works pretty well for me. And for reference, I wear the shade 7.2 Sepia from Tom Ford's foundations. I will also leave a full list of other concealers and what shades I wear in those concealers in the description box down below, along with popular foundations that I wear and what shades I wear in those foundations, so you guys can kind of get an idea of my skin tone for the concealer and of course the blush. Now, before we get into the details about this concealer, up here on the screen is my information, how old I am, my skin type, what I like, what I dislike in concealers, what I look for. I feel like that information is really important for the viewer to know what the person behind the camera likes and dislikes and looks for in concealers. So that information is up there and it will also be listed in the description box down below. Let's go ahead and jump into the details about the concealer. Now, I've been wearing this for several days. I would say this is probably my 5th day wearing it. I was planning on finalizing my review earlier, but over the weekend, I had an ovarian cyst kind of flare up on me and I was kind of down for the count, but I'm good now. It's kind of settled down. I am good to go. And so I'm back filming and I need to get this review out because so many of you guys have asked me if I am going to be reviewing this concealer and you're very interested in my thoughts. And let me tell you, I have a lot of thoughts on this concealer. So let's go ahead and get into the details. If you guys are familiar with the Tom Ford gloss, these are the exact same packaging as the gloss. The doe foots are different, but the packaging is exactly the same. So again, it's $90. I mean, I think the glosses are what, 50, 55? I'm just so surprised that this is so expensive. Now, I will say, when I went to the Tom Ford counter and I was exchanging the shade, the guy that was checking me out, he said, you know, it's got lavender oils, kind of like the foundation does. And I'm like, yeah, but $90? He's like, yeah, I know. It's a little bit pricey. I'm like, yeah, because none of his concealers have ever been $90. So I don't know. Anyway, you guys, this concealer comes in 20 different shades. It does have a pretty good shade range. The description on this concealer, it says it is a crease-proof concealer that helps boost skin's radiance and evens out the skin tone. This medium coverage, buildable, waterproof concealer merges a 3-dimensional skincare with 3-dimensional radiance. Infused with hyaluronic acid, it smooths, moisturizes, and obscures redness, dark under eye circles, and fine lines to create a flawless base for foundation. This concealer is made in Italy. It has 0.18 fluid ounces, which is 5.4 milliliters. And up here on the screen is a diagram of the price of this concealer and how it compares to other concealers out in the market. So you guys can kind of get an idea of just how much you're paying for this per gram. It's a lot. It is a lot, and it is to date the most expensive concealer I have in my collection. Here's the thing. I love luxury makeup, and if a product is just fantastic, I have no problem paying the price, but it has to perform and be just perfect. Like, it has to be everything I need it to be and everything I want it to be. So I'm okay with paying the high price if it performs. Let's go ahead and move on to the blush. Now, the blush, like I said, it does retail for $90. If you buy this on the Beautylish website, which right now every shade is completely sold out on the Beautylish website. They have 6 shades available on the Beautylish website. On the Nordstrom's website, there are only 4 shades, so it depends on where you buy it. There are some in stock on the Nordstrom's website, so in case you guys are interested and they might have the shade that you're interested in. It looks like right now they have Cherry Blaze, they have the Explicit Flush, which is the one I have here. They have Peach Poison, which is the one I kept going back and forth on. And then they have Sun Drunk, which was another one that I kept kind of going back and forth on. Those were my 3 top shades, and I went ahead and ultimately decided on this shade. So this is a skin perfecting blush featuring 1 matte and 1 frost shade that delivers sheer to medium buildable coverage. So this luxurious 2-in-1 powder cheek color is formulated with rice silk powder and delivers a light reflecting, youth enhancing glow to the skin. The long wearing multi-dimensional pressed powder blush sculpts and highlights the skin. So these 2 shades that I have, I don't feel like one of them is more radiant than the other. I feel like they're both kind of the same. I wouldn't say that they have, like, either one of these shades have an illumination to them. Or like, if I look at the swatches, you can kind of see that they just look the same. Like, one doesn't look more highlighted than the other. Now, that could just be me, but you know, I have not felt that way. So because I did a price comparison on the concealer, we're also gonna do it for the blush. You get 0.22 ounces, which is 6.5 grams worth of product. And it is also made in Italy. So up here on the screen is a cost comparison to other high-end blushes out on the market, so you guys can kind of get an idea. Blush is $13.85 per gram. So she's a very, very expensive blush. I have worn the blush several times, so I kind of know how it wears, and I also have some thoughts on it. So we're gonna go ahead and jump into the application of the concealer, which I'm gonna apply it twice on camera because I have had a struggle with this concealer, you guys. It's been a struggle. So there was 2 different ways. Well, there's been several ways I've applied it. I've been trying to make it work. At the end of the day, I'm trying to make a $90 concealer work, which is kind of ridiculous in and of itself. Am I wrong? With that said, I've applied it multiple different ways, but on camera, I'm going to show you 2 different ways. And I'm going to do a 6-hour check-in on both of those applications. So you guys can kind of see what application works best for me versus the other, okay? But then I will come back tonight, later on this evening, and I will give you my full thoughts, and we will also do a 12-hour check-in. I will zoom you guys in, show you guys up close what everything's looking like 12 hours later, and we're gonna go from there. And of course, I will do swatches of the concealer next to foundations from Tom Ford, and also other concealers that I have in my collection. And of course, I will swatch the blushes against other blushes that I have, so you guys can kind of get an idea of the shade. So without further ado, let's go ahead and jump straight into the applications, and I will see you all in my final thoughts. Okay, so I wanted to pop back on camera really fast. I got to run some errands today. I'm just kind of in my sweats, just kind of chilling, but I wanted to pop on here and try this concealer for the second time. It's about almost 10 o'clock in the morning, and this concealer did not wear well yesterday. It sits on top of the skin, never going down into the skin. I don't know why I can't get it to blend into my skin. I don't think that this is a concealer that I can wear on this area, even though I like wearing concealer on that area. We all have different preferences. People always tell me all the time that, you know, I'm too old to wear concealer down here, but I think we're never too old to do whatever we want. Okay, so I'm gonna zoom you guys in. We're gonna put this on and see how it wears today. So I'm gonna wipe off the applicator and I'm just gonna put a little bit right here and bring some right here. Right now it is 10:09 in the morning, so I'm gonna go ahead and go about the rest of my day. I will see you guys in my first check-in. Okay, everyone, I am back to do my 6-hour check-in. I'm trying to not get in the sun. I parked in the shade. I'm actually in the grocery store parking lot. I need to go in and get a few groceries. So I wanted to do a quick check-in. It is currently 4:44 in the afternoon. So I've had this on for just over 6 hours. And I actually pulled out my mirror and looked to see how my under eyes were looking before I came on camera. And it's doing exactly what it did yesterday. I can't get this concealer to work for me. I can't. I'm also looking a little bit shiny on camera, which I'm not really looking that shiny in real life. I'm not sure why I'm looking so shiny, but okay, now I purposely did not put on any eyeshadow today. I just put on some mascara and a little bit of eyeliner to kind of make the lashes look a little fuller, but I did not put on any eyeshadow because I didn't want the eyeshadow to affect the review. So I'm gonna go ahead and look up, and can you guys see how it like sits? So not only does it sit in the lines like it's a creasy mess, but it sets on top of the skin. Oh, you guys see that? Oh, I can't get this to blend into my skin for anything. I don't know why, you guys. I don't know why. I don't know what the deal is, but it's kind of teeing me off. It just doesn't look good. It doesn't look good at all. I don't understand. What is the problem? I got my Chick-fil-A lemonade. Oh, it's so good. Who else loves Chick-fil-A lemonade? I'm just curious. I love it. So that's it for my 6-hour daylight check-in. I'm going to go ahead and... Okay, so I am back for the 20th time. I don't know if I'm going to put in all of the footage of me applying this concealer. I just don't know. We'll see how the editing goes. I don't want it to be 20,000 years long. I have struggled with this concealer every single time I've worn it. Today is actually the 5th day, okay? So I wanted to get this review up earlier, but my weekend kind of went to crap. And typically you guys know that I don't watch reviews before I review something, okay? I don't really like doing that because I feel like it taints your interpretation. I just feel like it does. But for this one, because I've struggled with it so much, I decided to go and look at other reviews. I only watched a few just to kind of get an idea. And it seems like those who really like this concealer are using like a dot of it and they're blending it out with a sponge. So I'm gonna try that. But this is my last try. Right now, I am reviewing a new foundation. So we're gonna try this bad boy one more time. I'm gonna put a dot here and a dot here. That's what people are doing. That's what I'm gonna do. I'm just gonna kind of build it in layers and just kind of use a little tiny bit at a time and see if I can get this sucker to work because, oh, it's been such a bad experience. I'm gonna try to put just a tiny bit like right here, just to kind of cover up I mean, I use concealer for a reason. I want to be able to apply it and use it the way I want to use it. Everybody applies concealer differently. I feel like with a $90 concealer, you should be able to wear it any way you want to. Any way you want to. But whatever. So I'm going to go over here on this side and do the exact same thing. Just adding a few dots and blend it out. No, I'm having an issue with it not sticking right here. So I don't know why. So I'm going to use a brush. I don't know if the sponge is picking it up. So I'm going to use a brush and see if I can get it to stay in place with the brush. So like right here, see how it's like setting on the skin and I can't get it to kind of blend in and like... This is the most frustrating concealer ever. I don't understand. This is what I do not like about this concealer. So I used a tiny, tiny bit, and this is what it's doing. See how it's setting on the skin right here? See how it gets into the creases? And it emphasizes all of these wrinkles right here. Like all of these wrinkles are emphasized. I just wanted to come on camera, show you guys another way of applying it and see if I can get this to work. So that's it for the application. I will see you guys in my 6-hour daylight check-in. Okay, everyone, I am back to, I can't even take myself serious with my dog in the corner over there. He is so not happy that I'm out here without him. He's just so distracting because he's just so dang cute, right? So it is currently 5:46. So I applied the concealer at what, like 10:30 this morning? So it's been just over 7 hours. So I have a lot to say about this guy. He is so cute. Look at him. He is not happy that he's not out here with me. I am reviewing a new foundation, so I'm looking pretty shiny in the monitor, but it is what it is. I didn't powder the foundation, so I'm definitely shiny. But for now, we're going to stick to the concealer. I did look at it up close before I came outside, and I will be honest with you, this application has worn the best. Applying just a tiny, tiny bit and kind of building it. This looks better than it did in my last 6-hour check-in, applying the amount that I normally do. So this concealer, it's my experience, less is more. But let's go ahead and zoom in really fast, even though I'm looking very shiny. But it's not as cakey. It's not as thick underneath the eyes. Even though I feel like it's sitting on my skin, this is the best that it's looked. I don't really love it right here. You can kind of see it patching up. I did bring some of it right here, just like a dot. And again, my biggest complaint with this concealer is it sets on the skin. It does give the under eyes a nice radiance, but it's almost too much radiance in my opinion to where it emphasizes the wrinkles. There is something to be said about a radiant concealer on, you know, dry, mature under eyes, but sometimes it can be too much. And when it's too much, it can emphasize, and I feel like that's what it's done every single time I've worn it. So, I mean, it looks pretty from afar. Look at him. He is the cutest. He is not happy that he's not out here with me. He's like, wait, what about me? Let me out. This concealer looks pretty from afar. It's just, I have so many other concealers that I really, really love, and for much less. That's it for the, well, it's basically a 7-hour daylight check-in. And then, of course, we will get into my final thoughts later on this evening. So I will see you guys then. Okay, so now that you guys have seen me apply the concealer, let's go ahead and jump into the blush application. So I have used this a few times, I would say 3 or 4 times. I have only put on just a tiny bit of contour, and I'll probably bronze after I apply blush because I wanted you guys to see how this looks without bronzer on. I'm gonna first go in to this shade right here, and I'm gonna put this on this side. Then I'm gonna go over top of it with the peachy part right here. So on this side, I'm going to go in with the peach first. Then I'm going to go with this on top. So that's the application. I will say I prefer applying the peach first and then this color over top because I feel like this kind of gives you that pop of color and then this kind of tones it down a little bit. But I've also used them kind of like rubbing them both together, kind of going like this, like between the both of them, like right in the middle. And that works great too. You know, for me, I feel like this one just looks a lot more softer on the skin than this side. I have to say, I do like the blush. It is very pigmented and it's not patchy at all. It applies beautifully. But is it worth $90? We're gonna get into all of that in my final thoughts. Okay, so I am back to give my final thoughts on this concealer and give a few thoughts on the blush. So right now it is currently almost 11 o'clock. So I've had both of these products on for 12 hours now. So I have a lot to say. I don't think it's going to be a surprise. I know this video is going to be long because I did put in 2 applications and 2 check-ins with both applications. So I'm going to try to keep this short and sweet. I'm going to pull you guys in, show you guys what it's looking like 12 hours later, and then we'll get into my thoughts. So I shut down the ring light, and all I have is the box lights to kind of give light in the room because it would be dark if not. It gets kind of cakey. It's gotten worse as time has gone on, like right here in this area. And it's just one of those that weighs a little bit heavy in the under eye. Even though this looks better than it has the whole time I've worn it, I still feel like I have better concealers in my arsenal that do a better job. I just feel like I have a lot of great concealers that are so beautiful on my under eyes, and they're long lasting and they look beautiful and they kind of wear off very naturally. This one just sets on the skin. That is my biggest complaint. It's been the biggest complaint I've had since the first day I wore it. And again, when you pay $90 for something, I shouldn't have to work this hard to make it work. I should be able to apply it any way I want to. I bring it down in this area, it looks patchy like it does right here. So I cannot bring it down on this part of my eyes. I just can't. So needless to say, this is a total bust. I give it a 1 out of 5. And the only reason why I would give it a 1 is because it has a pretty decent shade range. That's it. Because I saw all the shades at the Nordstrom counter, and it's a good shade range. They did a good job. There's 20 shades, but they're a wide variety of shades, which is what I appreciate. And that's the only reason why I'd give it a 1. I just do not like it. Even if this concealer was $40, I wouldn't recommend it. I just don't think it's a good concealer. I was hoping that it would blow my mind because the Emotion Proof concealer is one of the worst concealers I've ever used. And that one is from Tom Ford. It is terrible. It's supposed to be waterproof and all of this stuff, but it looks awful. This one is not worth the $90. It's not worth $40. I cannot recommend it. I do not like it. I've worn it several days now, you guys, and no, it's not a good concealer. No, don't waste your money on it. Now, as far as the blush, I like the blush. I do. I really like the way that it applies, and the formula is very similar to the Hermes blushes. And I think my thoughts are similar as the Hermes blushes. I thought the packaging on these were extremely cheap because they were like cheap plastic, and I'm just not overall impressed. I will say the Tom Ford weighs a little bit more, but it's still more money per gram than the Hermes, which is just stupid, right? If you're okay with spending the $90 and you're wanting to just kind of know, is it a decent formula? It is a nice formula. It does kind of have a very soft formula to it where it goes onto the skin. It's not dry at all. Very, very soft, very buttery to texture. Now, it's not putty-like, so it's not like a gelée formula, but it does have a very soft texture to it. Now, like I mentioned, this one doesn't have a lot of radiance to it. The only other Tom Ford blush that I have is this one right here. And this is Love Lust, I believe. And this one has a radiance. As you saw in the swatches, I did swatch this shade next to these, and this has a radiance. I wouldn't say that this is super radiant. So the reason why I mention that is because if you have a lot of texture on your cheeks and you're kind of worried about the radiance, I wouldn't worry about that because this is a very soft radiance. It's a really nice formula. It is. I like it. And I will definitely be using it because I do like the formula. I like the shade. And like I mentioned, I do like applying this color first and then going over top with this. I feel like it's just a little bit softer on the skin. And you can see all these hours later, even though my foundation is shining off the lights because I didn't powder today, but the blush looks beautiful. It still looks so radiant. Every time I've worn it, I've just loved it. I think it's a great blush, but there's a lot of great formulas out in the market right now for way less price. In fact, one of my favorite blushes is from Milani. This is in the shade 05 Luminoso. I love this. I love this blush so much. This is like, I want to say $11, $12. I don't know, maybe $9, $10, I don't know, but it's less than $15. This is $90. So I just cannot ever say that a blush is worth $90. I just can't say that. It's not revolutionary. It didn't apply anything different than what I have already in my collection. I feel like it's kind of something similar to the Hermes, where it's a nice formula. It blends beautifully. It looks beautiful, but it's not super, super special in any way. It's just a Tom Ford blush, and it's beautiful. That's it. That's all there is to it. So I do like the formula. If you were already kind of considering to try it and buy it, I do like the formula. I think it's a beautiful formula. The concealer is a no-go. I can't even remotely recommend it. I don't know how people are making this work for them. It kind of blows my mind, but I can't personally recommend it. So that's it for my review on these two products from Tom Ford. Shout out down below in the comment section, you guys. You always know that I love it when you share your experience with the products that I review because your experience is just as important as anyone else's coming on behind a camera and flapping their mouth. So definitely share your thoughts. If you bought the concealer and you're loving it, let us know in the comment section down below. If you don't love it, let us know. I'm so curious to hear your thoughts. And I'm very curious to hear who actually really likes this concealer because it is just not my concealer at the end of the day. That's it for the review. Thank you guys so much for hanging out with me in today's video. I hope you guys all have a wonderful day and I will see you all in my next video. Love you. Bye.